Welcome back to CEEN Caribbean News. It's now time to go in depth. For the second time in 2015 alone, there is another tussle in the Jamaica Labour Party over leadership. The first attempt to oust Andrew Holness as leader of the JLP was in February after his decision to boot Senators Dr. Christopher Tufton and Arthur Williams from the Senate was overruled by the Supreme Court. Now the fight isn't to remove him as leader overall, but to have him removed as leader of the opposition while remaining the leader of the party. To discuss the implications of this move months ahead of general and local government elections, we have been joined by political analysts Richard Dickey Crawford and Anthony Tony Myers. Welcome to In Depth, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
A blessed evening to you all. Hi, Dickey.
Hi, Tony. Long time, man. Good to hear.
Long time.
All right. Now, veteran Jamaica Labour Party member Edmund Bartlett has described the proposal to remove Andrew Holness as opposition leader while retaining him as party leader as a recipe for a disaster which could result in a political conundrum for the party. Are you of the same view, Mr. Crawford?
It is an untidy arrangement. And maybe Mr. Bartlett does have a point there. It is showing the desperation that confronts the Jamaica Labour Party. What they're trying to do, I think, is that the members of Parliament who come together to determine to remove or not to remove, but say they've come to try and decide whether to remove Andrew as the leader of the opposition party, because in the Parliament, the opposition leader, as well as the Prime Minister, is a person who enjoys the majority confidence of the members of the House. And they are trying to short-circuit going back to a delegates conference or to have the delegates make a decision, which if you remove him as party leader, you automatically can't be the leader of the opposition. Some people argue that the reason why they're trying to shortcut is because the JLP, and I've heard it in so many quarters, has no money at all. They can't mobilize the country for such an event. And in addition to that, the money situation is a real problem, one of the real problems facing the party. So, in a sense, I sympathize with the Jamaica Labour Party. I really do, because I cannot, they have painted themselves into such a corner that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to recover in the near future from this. And that's what someone discussed with me this afternoon, that many members of the party are saying, that's it, this leader is unelectable, let's forget about this next election and let us find a way to rebuild the party.
Now, Mr. Myers, do you share the same views as Mr. Bartlett?
I am the opinion that Mr. Bartlett is on the correct path. I don't see this helping Jamaica or helping the Jamaica Labour Party per se. I'm more interested in Jamaica, and it takes two parties to govern this country the way it ought to be governed. And we must have a unity of purpose. And if one is extremely weak, and don't care how strong the other one is, you will not get what is required of the leaders or the parties, and that is to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with their God. In 1944, when Norman Manley lost his seat, Dr. Ivan Lloyd took over as leader of the PNP side, who had won 5 seats. Yes, but he was leader of the PNP. But in this case, Andrew is a member of Parliament, and he had a reasonably good majority in the West Central St. Andrew constituency, won by 1,039. And I don't see why this separation, the parliamentarians on the opposition side should want to replace him at this time. As a matter of fact, it would create more confusion within the Jamaica Labour Party and more dissension, and could a house divided against itself, you know what happens. It cannot stand. And with elections hovering, anytime you could have a general or a parish council election, or both, you understand, you have to be prepared. So it means, therefore, that what they must do tomorrow is to discuss what they have to discuss in a manner that is in the best interest of Jamaica. And say, Andrew, there are certain qualities or certain characteristics that you have, and we are not happy with it. It's not in the best interest of the party. So these are the characteristics. Please bury them and let us move forward and present a opposition or a government in waiting when an election is called. I think that it's about time that the parties get to understand that they must put Jamaica first, put God's people first. If you don't do that, you will be twice defeated. And if tomorrow they should come out of that meeting without a solution that is pleasing to he who is in charge, and that is God, then that party will find itself in a deep hole and digging. And when you're in a deep hole and you're digging, the only way you can go is down.
Mr. Crawford, what potential damage is the party facing being enthralled in a leadership challenge months before the elections?
Could you repeat that?
What potential damage is the JLP facing having their leader in this situation months before the elections?
Well, it really is saying that they have lost the election or they're giving it away. They face insurmountable odds. As Tony is saying, an election could be imminent. The problem, I think, though, in the Labour Party, you see, is much deeper. I'm not excusing Andrew's leadership. I'm just saying it's much deeper than Andrew's leadership alone. As far as I see it, and as far as a significant number of Jamaicans see it, the Labour Party has been badly damaged, and its credibility is very weak. I think the recent transfer of leadership to Andrew Holness, when it had to be done inside the party, that debacle about the man at Phelps and Phillips situation and the crisis that created in the country has severely hurt the Jamaica Labour Party. And I understand, as we all do, that since Andrew is the leader, I suppose they're hoping to correct all the problems, or perhaps seeing the fact that he's unable to galvanize the party, because the charges against him are his leadership is weak or not satisfactory. The party is not united. They don't have any money. And essentially, they are blaming Andrew for this. And essentially, in life, every CEO, every chairman of the board, every party leader gets blamed for the problems of the organization. So one can understand that. But I think that the Jamaica Labour Party, certainly it's exaggerated with Andrew, but there's probably a lot of wisdom in the fact that if they really want to correct the problems and the flaws in the party, there must be a clean decision arrived at in the party, and not the proposal of a halfway house removing him as leader of the opposition but retaining him as party leader. Because the polls, as Tony has noted, polls themselves, the polls are showing some very striking things which I don't think the Labour Party is taking into consideration. Over 50% of the electorate have no intention of voting in the next election. That's one. And in addition to that, that's most of the young people in the country. The party, the Jamaica Labour Party, and I dare say some of the actions of the People's National Party give rise to this. The parties have lost touch with reality. They are concentrating really on the one critical factor. And I think that's what Tony is trying to say. To my mind, all they want is to acquire power at all costs. and they are not dealing with the reality of the situation in the country. And that I think is the big problem that the Jamaica Labour Party, as the opposition party and being so fragmented, has to grapple with. I do agree with the view that they really ought to scrap the party as it is and start all over again.
Mr. Myers.
Yes, please.
How can the People's National Party capitalize on this situation with the JLP?
The People's National Party has demonstrated at this time, I would say for the first time at last, something that is unique. I have never seen it happen before in my how many decades of looking at how the parties have traveled, a path that they have taken. I think for the first time, here comes a party that is thinking big and thinking long term. And when the pressure comes, the party is not looking over its shoulder and saying, my goodness, we are going to lose the election because we are on this particular path that will be of great help to all the people of Jamaica down the line, say in another 5, 6, 7 years. You understand? So capitalizing on what the JLP is doing, that's not important, or the failures of the JLP at this time to unite and be strong. What the People's National Party has to do is to continue on the path that they are on, because they are thinking big and thinking long term, and that is what is good for Jamaica. Should they?
Thank you very much, Mr. Myers. We have to leave it there.
They would be in serious trouble.
And we were joined by political analysts Richard Dickey Crawford and Tony Myers discussing the odd situation facing the opposition Jamaica Labour Party.